following program is intended for mature audiences.
I'm going to be honest with you, bro.
I'm going to beat up John Cena.
Oh, it's a great idea.
So who the hell do you think you are?
I was going to dress up like Bruce the Barber Beefcake, cutting and strutting, and then I was going to beat up John Cena. Wonderful. I mean, come on. What's more fun than beating up John Cena?
Suplex City, bitch.
Beat up John Cena!
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
And welcome, everybody, once again to the Weekly Suplex. I am Brian Thomas, joined tonight by my co-host, Juice Springsteen. Juice, how you doing?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing fairly well. A lot has happened in 7 days, man. I mean, holy crap.
I know. Good,
like,
bad, ugly. It's all there.
It's all there. I mean, we got a lot to talk about in this show, so we kind of threw the normal format out the window because there's just so much stuff to go over. And, let's face it, we're at Friday now. Raw and SmackDown are well in the books by now. So maybe we'll do a little different than we normally do from now on instead of recapping both shows, which everybody should know by then what happened anyway.
I agree. That's, I like doing that. I don't have a problem doing that. But, again, everybody pretty much knows, if you're in the loop, what went down. So, plenty of stuff to go about this week that, could have taken place at Raw or SmackDown, but it's not necessarily, recapping the whole show. So, plus, exactly. We just came off a pay-per-view. We got a lot of stuff going on. Next pay-per-view is in my hometown.
Yeah,
crazy.
That's gonna be awesome, man. Extreme Rules will be a fun one. I'm very curious to see what they come up with for stipulations, because this is the one pay-per-view where pretty much every match is going to have a stipulation in it. So I like it. It's a little gimmicky for some, but I'm a fan. As long as they don't do that every pay-per-view, I'm cool with it.
I agree. I just hope that they do something decent with this Rusev thing. We'll get into that once
we'll get into that. First, we got to mention though, Juice, that we lost.
Don't.
We lost the best big man I think this business has ever seen. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say Andre the Giant or the Undertaker. No, this guy.
They're different.
They're way different, yeah. And Vader was just phenomenal. He was a huge guy, well over 400 pounds, but he could move like he was $150. And he could do moves like he was $150. And he was believable as a badass monster. And I just remember some early days, like I didn't have WCW growing up, so my first exposure to him was the WWF, which, wasn't his best years, but even back then I was pretty impressed with Vader. And I had friends who were big into WCW, so shortly after I had seen him on WWF, I was allowed to see a lot of his Japanese stuff. They were tape traders and had a lot of his Japanese matches, which were far more brutal and far more big than anything he ever did here in the States. But we lost a good guy in Leon White, and everything I know is he was just a gentle soul outside of the ring and a monster inside the ring.
Yeah, I saw this headline come across, and I was just, I don't know. It's not the level of like an Ultimate Warrior, someone that changed the course of pro wrestling, but it's someone that is no pun intended, a big guy in this industry. There is no Braun Strowman without a guy like Vader. Mm-hmm. People talk about Bam Bam Bigelow's the greatest big man. I think it goes, and again, so here we go. Andre the Giant is such a different category of big man. He transcended wrestling in general. And he's not just a big man. He wasn't like an agile big man. It was just a huge individual. Mm-hmm. And The Undertaker, although he moves incredibly well, his gimmick, I think, transcended the fact that he was just a big guy. I think the supernatural stuff was just, that's what people remember him for, not just he was just a big guy. But yeah, this one hurt. I was a big fan of Vader, and again, with the WWE Network coming into play, since 2014. I've gone through and I've watched all the best matches from his time in WCW, time in WWF. Although WCW is the best time I think he had in the States by far.
Yeah, easily.
And it's a shame. Again, I tweeted this out. There's matches that he could have had with the Giant before he left. Sid Vicious, who was supposed to have a match, both at Starrcade, 2 separate Starrcades. They were supposed to have these matches. And Vicious left in 93, and Vader was out of there in 95. So.
Well, Vicious was kind of told to take a hike after he attacked Arn Anderson.
True,
so
true.
That wasn't a doing of Vicious's leaving.
Yeah, that's true. It's just a shame. But even so, we got great matches with Ric Flair, Sting. God, the Cactus Jack matches really put both those guys on the map.
Oh, yeah.
Cactus Jack was known, but, I mean, he's taken on the world champion. Not necessarily winning, but he's going toe-to-toe and getting killed out there and putting on the best match no matter what. Just an overall crazy performer in the ring, agile, did the moonsault, right, off the top rope, which, again, Bam Bam was the only guy I really think that did that at that type of size. But not doing Vader was world champion. Vader was world champion, big guy, and he was doing these moves. He did not have to beat these guys, and he went above and beyond. And it sucks. It really sucks. He was only 63. That's way too young in this day and age.
Yeah, and what's really sad about the whole thing is that he was diagnosed about 1 or 2 years ago with a major heart problem where he was told he only had a little while to live. He had major surgery done earlier this year. Everything looked on the up and up, and then he got just crushed with this pneumonia. And people thought he was going to make it, and then just his heart just couldn't take it anymore. And it's just a real sad end to a phenomenal guy and a phenomenal wrestler. And like you said, I highly recommend going out there, watching the WCW stuff, especially in the 93, 94 era.
Yep.
Even watching some of his matches with Hogan, which not his greatest, but still good.
I watched the match he had at Bash at the Beach for the spectacle on the beach, you know, in the cage, something you just never saw. I think that was his last WCW pay-per-view match. I thought it was pretty good, pretty interesting. Again, mainstream, Vader, Hogan. This is the guy they wanted to have Hogan face, whether he was going to win or not. And that's never, whatever. I think the other thing...
He was a big monster that Hogan hadn't defeated at the time, and so, this was bound to happen.
And even so, I think he put up more of an effort than a lot of the bigger guys that they had.
Oh, by far.
Once the Giant got in there, that was a little bit different. But before that, no one had really had that big of a Yokozuna was like the biggest guy that he really faced, maybe an Earthquake, but never to the extent of these moves that Vader was doing. He was so powerful. Mm-hmm. He was overpowering Hogan. Like Earthquake, some of these guys, they would do a lot of these rest holds and stuff. Vader's going in there and socking you in the face.
Oh, and he's legitimately a scary-looking dude.
And he's really hitting you.
Oh, yeah.
There's not much selling needed there if you're in a Vader match. He was one of the first guys I saw that wore the MMA gloves. And, I mean, everybody, it's a thing now. Brock Lesnar, I mean, he was in MMA, but, I mean, that's a big trend that started with a guy like Vader. And the last thing, before we move on from here, the thing that really bothers me about this whole thing is that he's not in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And now he's going to be in the Hall of Fame posthumously. And it sucks because, one, I think he induct Stan Hansen in. Is that who he inducted in?
That sounds right.
So he inducted someone in, didn't get inducted in. It's clear that he's, a guy that needs to be in there. And I know it's not the plan of WWE to be like, oh, well, we'll wait till he's dead for him to go in. But it almost seems like every year the WWE has a guy that's passed away get in there. So it's going to be convenient for them now. It's just a shame he couldn't have gave a proper speech is all. Yeah,
the thing is that when he was diagnosed and basically told he didn't have long to live, they had an opportunity to put him in this past year. And they didn't do it. And I don't know if maybe that was because maybe Vader wasn't healthy enough to come and do it, and maybe there was something on that side. We don't really know what happened behind the scenes and if it was thought about. And it is very sad that he's going to probably go in this year posthumously, but at least they're going to put him in because he definitely deserves to go in.
True.
And there's no doubt about it.
And it's something that the family can relish in now. They can take this. Yeah. And to be fair, if his condition was as bad, you wouldn't want to see him out there in a bad state.
I don't think he'd want to put himself out there. Right?
Exactly. So if the option was, hey, he won't go in until this, so he doesn't suffer and he's not looking bad and defeated. He's a strong guy. You know he doesn't want to go out there and not look like Vader.
Right.
You know. So
I mean, he did
goes
that
out,
a few times in the early 2000s when he came out and he was just like way out of shape and stuff, and it looked awful. But yeah.
His last appearance when he beat up on Heath Slater, I thought was pretty good. It was a good little send off for him, but way better than his stint in 05 at Taboo Tuesday, I believe, with Coach and Goldust.
In the 2003 era, he did a couple stints with TNA, and he looked terribly out of shape there. But I think he figured it out, and he got himself in better shape. I mean, he was still working Japan quite a bit, and that's what you need to do is you need to go out there and find some of his matches from Japan. I'm sure you can find them on YouTube or one
Daily
of those
Motion
Daily Motion.
Has a lot of stuff from the Japan days, and I
find
can't
his Stan
recommend
Hansen
that
match when Stan Hansen pops his eye out. Oh God, that's brutal stuff. But that's what they did.
I think he brought out the glasses that had an eye like that for his induction speech for Stan Hansen.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
So,
but
so I mean,
yeah, he's a legitimate tough guy. There's some great stories, and I highly recommend if you want to hear some really good stories to go listen to Bruce Pritchard's podcast episode on Vader because there's some great stuff in there.
It was fantastic. I loved every minute, and it was just great.
Yeah, absolutely. So rest in peace, Vader.
Yep.
You will definitely be missed. Sad way to go out, but hopefully he's healthy and happy in heaven.
Hopefully, and again, thoughts and prayers to his family. And it's odd, I got to tell you this. So I think he passed away Monday, but we didn't really find out until Wednesday. I want to say, Tuesday night. I can't make this up. Tuesday night, I watched. It was Clash of the Champions from November '94. Just to watch it. I wasn't watching anything in particular, but I forgot. Vader faces Dustin Rhodes in that match, on that card, and he debuts this like wheelbarrow slam finish that I think he did again at Starrcade on Jim Duggan. And it was very odd, and not the Vader bomb, but it was like the wildest move I've ever seen a guy do. Like I don't know if anybody else has really done it like that, but it was odd. I watched that match. I love that match. And then I find out the next day, and I was like, that's so odd. Because, I mean, that was the best. Like, watching that show, the main event's like a six-man with Hogan and the Butcher, and it's terrible. And the Vader match is the only one I was really looking forward to. So, it was just a great, entertaining guy in the ring. So, sorely missed.
Definitely. All right. Well, we did have a pay-per-view in WWE land, so I think we should talk a little bit about that because there were some major things that went on at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view as well as Raw and SmackDown. So, first things first, the big news coming out here is we had a women's Money in the Bank match, which was amazing match, I thought.
Oh, yeah.
And the winner is Alexa Bliss. Now, the internet basically broke down over this. I don't know if your Twitter feed was filled with all these Becky Lynch supporters pissed off that she didn't win this match, but mine was filled with them. And I laughed because, I basically said to Jay as we were watching this show, I said, here's the thing. He goes, I said, I want Lana to win because I think it would be fun to have a Money in the Bank holder that people would just basically laugh at, right?
Yeah.
But if Alexa Bliss or Sasha Banks wins, I'll be happy. And then Alexa Bliss wins, and I'm like, sweet. So she wins the Money in the Bank. It was a fantastic match, and I think every single gal in that match put on a hell of an effort. And they all got their spots, and they all performed very well. Lana had the best match of her career. It was fun to watch.
I had a great time watching this match. And I find this as a problem sometimes, but I mean, I think they are finally getting their stride in this, where if there's now that any men's match that happens, no matter what stipulation, there's a women's counterpart now. Like they're gonna have they've done the Rumble, they've done Money in the Bank, they're equal. Everybody's equal now, and I've noticed at least that the women are very. I wouldn't say hesitant, but they're nervous in doing some of these spots. I mean, truth to be told, it's a ladder match. It's a very dangerous match. And so some of the stuff will come off a little bit more choreographed looking, and that's not necessarily bad because you want them to be safe. But I think that's kind of going away now. They're really kind of coming into their groove, and I saw a lot of promise, a lot of girls just going for it. And I'll say that again once we get to the Rousey match with what Alexa did in that match. But I thought that Charlotte was going to win this only because she has done everything up until this point, and it would just add to her legacy. But then I also agreed that Alexa winning does the same thing. As the whole time that Charlotte was built up as this great competitor, and she is. She's probably top woman one or two in the company right now, performance wise. She had been talked about as this top girl, but Alexa Bliss is the first woman to win both Raw and SmackDown women's titles, which everybody thought maybe Charlotte would be the one. And now, boom, now she's the Money in the Bank and cashed in the same pay-per-view.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
She's breaking just as many barriers as Charlotte is what I'm getting at.
To me, Alexa Bliss is the best women performer they have in the company. She's got
I agree.
a phenomenal mic skills. She knows the character so well and plays it so good.
Because
and she can work. She works well.
That's her. Her character is a great little, addition to herself. It's a little bit of an extension of herself.
It's phenomenal.
She's so great with her words and her emotions, and I think everything she's done once she's kind of gotten this elevated into the title picture has been perfect. Yeah, and this is just another thing. So kudos to WWE for letting someone other than like Charlotte, Sasha, or Bayley do some work. And they've given her the ball, and she's killed it thus far.
I agree. Later in the show, the closed out the show, the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Braun Strowman won that. I don't think anyone's surprised by this at all.
No, I was excited for that. That's what I wanted.
Yep, that's who I wanted too. I mean, this is who you need to have on the Raw side with that Money in the Bank contract. When you have a guy like Brock Lesnar out there, you need someone who you can believe can beat the guy. And Braun Strowman is a guy you believe who could go in there and just kick the crap out of him. So I'm happy that they pulled the trigger on that. That was a good move. I would have been okay with a Samoa Joe winning because I think he could taunt the SmackDown side of things very well. But I'm happy they went with Braun. He was definitely the obvious choice in this, but he was the right choice. And the way they put the match together really made him shine, and it went really well. So I'm happy about that as well.
I am too. Not many times in this day and age when the internet's around and that you get the result that you wanted, but was also the right result, and that deserved to happen for so long. People have wanted Braun to be Universal Champion, any champion, something for so long. He got the tag titles at WrestleMania, but that was just for the fun Andre the Giant type moment with the kid. But this is something that is not a title. It's just as close, and it's perfect. It's perfect. Brock Lesnar is the perfect champion for a guy to have Braun as the Money in the Bank, because Braun is not going to just, he's going to want a match. He's going to call him out. He's not afraid of Brock Lesnar. You get any of these other guys that have the case. I mean, maybe Samoa Joe. I don't know. He would want to fight Brock, but they have another champion they would easily go after. Braun Strowman doesn't care about the WWE title. He doesn't care at all. He wants Brock, and it's the perfect foil for Brock Lesnar. As long as they go with this, and they do it right, and I think ultimately if you give Braun the Universal title with this, then I think they've made amends with as much as they've done with Brock over the last couple of years.
Let's hope so, because the scary thought is that they want to go with Roman again against Brock at SummerSlam. And if they do that, so rumor is that they gave Braun the Money in the Bank as a backup if the crowd craps on another Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns match, which they will. It's just going to happen.
Oh yeah,
people are so
especially
sick
if it's at SummerSlam. I mean, that's Brooklyn. I don't know what you're thinking is going to happen, but.
Yeah, it's sad. But speaking of things that we were owed and we wanted and was the right decision, AJ Styles finally defeats Shinsuke Nakamura in a last man standing match. We had a clean finish. It was an absolutely barn burner of a match. Finally got the match that we thought we would get at WrestleMania only a few months later. Thank God.
Yeah, again, we talked about this. I was so excited for the WrestleMania match. No, I wasn't disappointed because at the end, we had a storyline, because there was really no storyline for these guys. We're great friends. We've had great matches before. Boom, we got WrestleMania, but all of a sudden, low blow, and that was fine. But then it turned into every match is not going to end clean. Every time it's going to be with a low blow. I like Shinsuke's heel turn, but this finally was the match I've been waiting for. I guess it's fine that we had to wait for this, but I would have liked a better match at WrestleMania. But I mean, I'll take a better match now than no good match at all.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And
finally a clean finish. We'll get to what AJ's looking forward to next. But I mean, this is a great match. I thought this was, pun intended, phenomenal. I love the spots. The storytelling was there with a big low blow that Nakamura just took it, didn't he? Right out there.
That was pretty awesome.
I mean, I know that some of the Japanese wrestlers can, New Japan guys, they can really, take some brutal shots, but you got to draw a line somewhere, and he didn't have to. But a great finish. I thought the match was, really, really good, and the whole pay-per-view in general. I mean, I didn't think anything was that bad. It
was fantastic. It was so much better coming off the two pay-per-view, or the pay-per-view and the Greatest Rumble that we had. That was kind of disappointment. It was nice to get something really good. We waited a long time for this pay-per-view, and at least it delivered.
And again, I think we both discussed this, but I always talk about Money in the Bank is that fourth big show. It has surpassed Survivor Series. And look at that. It benefits from having the Greatest Royal Rumble and all this stuff. It benefits from having these like mediocre shows. And for once, I don't know if it necessarily beat the NXT show from the night before, but it was at least at the same level. I thought a lot of the stuff was, pretty good.
I would say the NXT show was better, but
I would too. But
it wasn't a
blowout
show. Yeah, this was a fantastic show.
It didn't get blown out by NXT like every other takeover usually does. So I mean, that's got to be a feather in their cap.
Absolutely. I mean, the NXT show. Let's quick finish up with the Money in the Bank here, because we had an outstanding outing for both Ronda Rousey and Nia Jax. Nia Jax had her best match to date in WWE with Ronda Rousey, which is amazing if you think about that, because neither of these two have proven anything beyond that Nia's a monster and Rousey has got hype, and it's her first singles match. Both times she's wrestled so far, she's been fantastic. And this was no exception. Nia dominated her, and Ronda sold like a machine. Like she'd been doing it for years.
What I think is very interesting about this, and I kind of picked up on it now looking at it, it's almost as if Ronda Rousey's character in her in-ring, how her matches have gone thus far and how she performs, it's almost as if she's Brock Lesnar, but on a whole 180. Right? She goes in, she has a great match, but she's been kind of beaten down. She can get beat down, and then all of a sudden it flips, and she turns into this Brock Lesnar. She'll sell like Brock Lesnar and just get the tar beat out of her. She was getting her head smashed off the mat. She got thrown into the barricade. Brutal. Nia Jax
drops.
Yeah, she made Nia Jax look like a even bigger of a monster. She looked like Vader out there, and the fact that Ronda can turn it, on a dime, well, with the selling, of course, her selling's fantastic. She's not smiling at every turn either, finally, other than her entrance. I'm still fine on that. She comes back, punches are great, they look great, her momentum's great, and the finish of the match, I mean, you can take over from there.
Yeah, the finish was fantastic. I mean, she basically looked at Nia and said, it's over, and went for that armbar. Nia's fighting it off, and she finally gets it, and then lo and behold, from underneath the ring, out comes Alexa Bliss and just blasts Ronda Rousey, causing a disqualification, and then blasts Nia Jax. She's beaten the holy tar out of Ronda Rousey with that Money in the Bank briefcase.
On the outside, too.
It was awesome. And my favorite part of that whole sequence is that after Ronda gets thrown out of the ring, she's going after Nia. She turns and looks at Rousey getting up. She hops out of the ring and just belts the crap out of her with that briefcase again. It was great.
Yeah, I thought that was so entertaining because, first and foremost, it's great. Ronda doesn't lose because she got the win via DQ, so technically she's still undefeated. You save both competitors. You save Nia and Ronda. It was a perfect usage of the briefcase. I was still kind of surprised that it happened, although just because it was such a great match. I was excited to see what was going on, But the fact that this happened, and I was so interested that Alexa not only beat up Ronda, then kind of was still in there, and then went back out and made a huge point to beat her down even further, and still had enough to go back in and hit, that beautiful, what is that, like a reverse splash? I don't know how to even how to describe that splash that she did off the top rope, where she kind of like
Twisted
spins.
Bliss.
But I mean, the movement of it is hard to describe. But she wins, and she's champion again. It's just amazing. All three competitors look fantastic.
And it looked like for a while they were teasing like she was going to cash in but not cash in.
Yeah,
I was like, come on, please.
I know.
Please.
That's all I kept saying. Do it. It's great.
And she did it, and it was the best. I mean, to me, as an Alexa Bliss fan, as a fan of this match, this was an awesome outcome. And many people were thinking that maybe the men's match would go first, and we'd see this on the men's side of things. But to have it done on the women's side of things, I thought was great. I mean, there's no reason we need to have Alexa Bliss carrying around a briefcase for the next 7-8 months.
It's more interesting to have Braun do that.
Yes, absolutely. This was perfect, and I loved every second of it. Great match by the two, and a great finish with Alexa cashing in. Just an awesome way to do it. Monday night, we get basically some back and forth. We find out that there's going to be some, I don't know how many did he even say how many people are going to be in this square off at Extreme Rules to determine who's going to be the next competitor to face Brock Lesnar. They didn't even say when. I'm assuming it's SummerSlam. But
yeah, that's what I would assume. I mean, that's the next show after that, right? July, August, yeah.
Yeah, so this has been announced as they're going to, at Extreme Rules, we'll find out who Brock Lesnar's next opponent is. So if you're hoping to see Brock Lesnar at Extreme Rules, sorry, man, you're not going to see him there in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Unless he comes out at the end to do some kind of stare down. But
no, see, that's so easy, but they're not going to pay Brock just to do that. You know?
And not at $1 million a pop, no.
But, so I'm not worried about that.
You got that announced. Here's what irked me, though. So you had at Money in the Bank, Seth Rollins and Elias put on probably Elias' greatest match since he's been in the WWE. Just a phenomenal match. It looked like Elias was going to take the IC belt, and Seth Rollins squeaks out a win with the tights. The next night on Raw, they have Dolph Ziggler come out and answer the open challenge and beat Seth Rollins for the IC title. Now, I'm sorry, Dolph is old news to me. I can't get excited about his character anymore. He's a great worker, but I don't want to see him as the Intercontinental Champion. I would rather have Elias get a rematch with Seth and win it.
I see where you're coming from here, but again, what's old is new. You got Drew McIntyre as this new guy in Dolph Ziggler's corner. I like that dynamic. Sure. Back to the match at Money in the Bank, I thought Elias performed fantastically. I don't know if it's the beard, hair, the elbow. Does he not remind you of a Macho Man Randy Savage when he's in there?
With that elbow off the top rope, definitely.
Everything. His like performance art, just how he is, it reminds me a lot of him. Maybe it's the Intercontinental title stuff too. But
I don't know. I think he's a fantastic performer. He's a great gimmick, and I think the IC title is perfect for a guy like that if you don't want it on a workhorse.
Yeah,
and
it's
he's
different.
not to say he's not a workhorse, because I think he can get there.
Yeah. And yeah, definitely. And I get it. It's not a Bray Wyatt case, I don't think, where he's a character that doesn't need a title. I think a mid-card title would be nice, and then would elevate his character that much more. Yeah. His character is already so great. I mean, he'll come out and
huge.
He'll always come out and do a different song. It's different than like an Enzo character where you do the same catchphrase all the time. He's got a new thing every single week, keeps it fresh, which is why the character stays fresh. Mm-hmm. Now, you have that problem with Ziggler winning. I already think that what is going to happen here is that Seth and Elias will have a problem with that, and they might do a triple threat at Extreme Rules, which I think would be a fantastic match.
I think that'd be fine too. It's just that to me, of the two guys, Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre, they put it on the wrong guy. I mean, if they're
going to make Drew McIntyre the big Diesel character, though, that's what they're going to go for.
Maybe that's what they're doing, but I don't know.
Because even when that was the case, Shawn Michaels was Intercontinental Champion, Diesel became Intercontinental Champion. It can happen.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
Well, we'll have to see where it goes. I'm just not as thrilled as most people that Dolph Ziggler's the IC champ. I just think that you could have kept it on Seth and still had the same outcome you want if three ways where you want to go. Yeah. Over on the SmackDown side of things, the biggest news coming out of SmackDown is basically AJ Styles found out who his next opponent is going to be.
I don't know. I think James Ellsworth coming back at Money in the Bank supersedes that, but I digress.
Okay, whatever.
I thought that was a great moment.
I like James Ellsworth. I thought it was great to have him back.
I think it's a great thing.
I think the way they did it was
Carmella kept him around. Like it's a great little storyline.
I think that the way that they pulled it off was a little awkward.
I
like Carmella winning. No, but why would Asuka stare at this?
Because it's weird.
It is weird, but
it's seeing yourself in the mirror. It's doink at WrestleMania 9. It's great.
I don't know. I like Ellsworth. I'm happy that Carmella won the match. I thought it was actually a pretty good match between the two. For Carmella matches, I thought it was one of her better ones lately.
She's a great chicken.
She's phenomenal. Well, she's not even a chicken ass heel, man. She goes out there and basically mocks people and says she's better than them and keeps telling them that. And I think that's phenomenal.
I just like how she'll always play. She'll play the I'm in the ropes. I'm in the ropes.
She's
a great heel tactic.
She's great heel, and fantastically cocky. I like that.
and I know we'll get to the big cast thing, but would you ever have thought Carmella would be the last one of this group that sticks around and beat Asuka and is the champion?
No.
Out of those three, would you ever imagine that? Although
Not even close. No.
She's got the great looks and all, and we know that WWE loves that. But I mean, I never would have thought that it would have been her the last one standing. It's crazy.
And to be the only one to get a main roster title.
Oh yeah, definitely.
None of the others. I mean, unless you want to count the cruiserweight title, but I'm not going to.
And she won Money in the Bank. She was
Yep.
first Money in the Bank winner.
Correct, twice.
Twice, yeah. And it's I don't know. It's just great. I love the whole thing. I like James Ellsworth. He's just a random indie guy that became a huge thing, and
I hope he sticks around. I do, and I hope that the WWE takes what he's been doing in the independent scenes and kind of use it to their advantage, because he's been doing the intergender matches. I think that could be fun, especially with a guy like Ellsworth.
He'll get killed by Asuka. I hope
fun.
that happens.
It'd be fun.
Hey, Extreme Rules is coming up. That could be an Extreme Rules stipulation.
Absolutely.
They can make it work.
Asuka versus Ellsworth, I think that'd be phenomenal. Let's do it. Let's do it. AJ Styles did find out his new opponent. They had a gauntlet match, and Rusev wins the match. Rusev.
Well, yeah, it was on Rusev Day. Why wouldn't he win?
Well, he never does, but
well, there's time for everything.
I was happy. I mean, they teased the Miz, and I thought, well, Miz AJ would be pretty good, but having Rusev win, I think, is awesome. The fans wanted it. It's about time they give it to him. Now, Rusev, I don't think is going to have a chance of winning the title, but hey, he's in a featured spot for the WWE Championship. Yep. This is going to be his first, I think, WWE Championship match.
I think it'll be his biggest match since his match with Cena and the U.S. title at Mania 31.
It's going to be great. I'm excited about it. I'm curious to see what they end up doing on a stipulation, maybe a Russian chain match or something. But
there you go. Look at you, right in the show.
We can do it. I'm excited about it. That was a good thing. I think it's about time to get off the Shinsuke bandwagon, at least for a pay-per-view.
For now, yeah. I think I don't know how far this really can go. I've seen a lot of people think that AJ might keep it past that CM Punk mark, which would take him maybe to the Royal Rumble, and that would be the WWE. It would be the WWE title, so people would actually look at it that way and respect it at least more than they would with Brock beating that record. Now, be that as it may, I am glad Miz was the one that lost. He was the last one to get the defeat there. I think the Miz will get into this picture at some point. I think the ultimate goal, to be honest, I don't know. I would say Miz would be the champion going into a Daniel Bryan winning Royal Rumble match at WrestleMania for the title.
I could see that. That would be good.
Think that is something that they could get into. So Miz coming up just short, I think, is definitely a step in that direction. So good for Rusev. I think it'll be very exciting. I think the Pittsburgh crowd will eat up Rusev Day. I don't think he'll win. But I think that'll be a great little match for him. And just like Elias getting elevated by a match with Seth Rollins, Rusev could have a hell of a match with AJ Styles. Absolutely. I think they'll have a great match.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I think it's going to be good. So you mentioned it. Let's talk about it. Big Cass. He's no longer in the WWE. He basically comes back from injury, jobs to Daniel Bryan over and over again, and is let go. Yep. I was quite surprised.
I was surprised. I watched the match, and I was like, Daniel Bryan doesn't need to get this win. What's happening?
That's what I said that too.
And I said that the last match too. I was like, Daniel Bryan doesn't need to beat anybody. He's Daniel Bryan. He just came back from one of the biggest, greatest heartfelt storylines that they've ever had, organically, and he doesn't need to be any more over. I don't know what you're doing. Big Cass is a brand new heel. I thought the look was still good. Lost, gone.
I think he needed to get rid of it. Needed to up the look a little better. That long hair does nothing for him.
Well, no, I mean, but I'm saying it just started. The look just started. He's growing into the role. They didn't get a chance to do anything else.
I thought he was too. I thought he was getting a little bit better at promos. He had a decent match with Daniel Bryan. Yep. I didn't think it was bad. And all of a sudden they let him go. It was weird. I was not expecting it. I'll say that.
Now, what it seems like is it's something to do with how he acted on one of the SmackDowns with one of the beatdowns or whatnot. So.
Or I've heard also a plane incident.
Ooh, overseas plane incident?
I don't know about that, but something where he pulled out the big man card and tried to bully his way through to something. I don't know.
those overseas trips. Hey, look what the Greatest Royal Rumble and WrestleMania and the overseas trip did. They got rid of Big Cass.
Yeah, they could have. He's had some rough times. He lost Carmella, and now he lost his job. So,
yep, now Carmella's back with James Ellsworth, and Enzo and him are both on the street.
I meant
that's how it is.
Personal life, but okay.
Hey, you don't know how his personal life's going to shake out now with Ellsworth in the picture.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be
Stranger things have happened.
Ronda Rousey, wow. She came out with a ball of fire as Alexa Bliss just tore a new a-hole in her verbally, and then Rousey went ballistic, attacking Alexa Bliss, attacking Kurt Angle, attacking all the officials.
She beat up 3 officials in like 5 seconds. It was fantastic.
She kicked the crap out of anyone in her way. I thought it was awesome. Just awesome.
Her character is so fresh. It's just like Brock Lesnar again, but it's a female Brock Lesnar, and she's just like fun and likable, and she likes being there. Yeah. She's a fan. She's having a great time. It's great.
I was a little miffed that they went and suspended her for 30 days. I understand why.
I don't mind that at all.
They keep her out of the way for Nia-Alexa rematch. But it's this is what we want to see. She just came off a great match. She just had an awesome segment, and now you're going to keep her off my TV.
Yeah, but you're playing right into their hand, Brian, because that's what they want. They want you to want her, and boom, SummerSlam, she'll be back, and you'll tune in. Everybody will want her at the big show.
She's been absolutely great. I mean, no one expected her to be as good as she is, and she had a few rough starts at the beginning with the promos part, but ever since then, I mean...
The promos,
unreal.
Again, I was very skeptical with the promos, but I shouldn't have been too hard on her. I really wasn't, but I was just nervous. Because, I want her to succeed. It's a big deal. It's going to get a lot of publicity if she does well here. And, again, she's just a fan, so she's got to learn and get this character. She's benefiting from Shayna Baszler. I've said this a million times. Her friend, Shayna Baszler, killing it in NXT, doing what Ronda should look after. And I was so skeptical, and then, boom, the biggest stage of them all is she's thrown out there with Triple H and these Hall of Fame talent, and she gets tagged in, and the place, like... The lid blew off. Yeah. It was the most incredible moment of that night. One of the most exciting moments of the whole evening. She came in, ripped Stephanie over there, and to relive that is just she's doing great. I'm excited to see how she goes moving forward.
Yeah, and I hope that the rumors aren't true that she's only in a 1-year contract and then is planning not to re-sign so that she can have a family. And I'm not saying she shouldn't have a family because that's her personal life and she should do what she wants to do, but it'd be so sad to see her leave after a year because I think she has the potential to be such a huge star in this business if she keeps going. So
I don't think she would leave if she were to do that. I think if she were to have a family and it kind of worked out and she wanted to come back, I'm sure they'd let her back with open arms.
I guarantee you they're going to let her back if she wants to come back.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that it's not going to be all said and done if she were to do that. I think it would just be for a temporary couple-year thing. But
yeah, well, let's hope because it's been fantastic so far, and I look forward to seeing her. I'm guessing she'll wrestle on the SummerSlam pay-per-view, and then probably not again until Survivor Series, which is fine, and then finish up at Mania or something like that. But
Royal
fantastic.
Rumble. She got a. I'm just so excited to see more stuff. I mean, I wasn't skeptical with her match against Nia. I didn't know it was going to happen, and she made that match so interesting, and I think she can just do that with any match.
I agree.
Exciting stuff. Very impressed.
Yeah,
good on her.
A couple big announcements came this week as well for WWE. They announced 2 big things. The first one being that they are going to be having another WWE Network special, this time called Super Show down in Australia. A lot of names mentioned on this show, including some unexpected names, HBK, and Undertaker taking on Triple H. That's the only match they've announced so far. Undertaker vs. Triple H for what they're saying is the very last time ever. Now,
since 2012.
Right, which was also the last time ever. But we'll see.
I don't think that's too bad. I like that they, especially like the Greatest Royal Rumble. I love that they had Triple H Cena. They give these crowds that may or may not normally see a big match like that.
Absolutely.
They give them these crazy big matches so that they can get drawn back in for another match. And although it's 4 a.m. live, I'll probably still watch it.
I doubt I'll be up at 4 a.m. to watch it, but I'll definitely put it on the network once it's available. Because heck yeah.
Did you watch the Tokyo show that live in Japan? Did you watch that?
I did
live
not watch that live. No, I watched it on delay.
I loved it. I stayed up. It was like July 4th. It was crazy. I love that.
Yeah,
that was fun.
I think it's fantastic that they do this, and especially that they're allowing the U.S. fans and people who have the network to see it as well. I think that's awesome. So I'm looking forward to it. That's in October. The other big announcement was that Triple H announced during the broadcast in the U.K. that they are finally going to pull the trigger on a UK brand, and they're calling it NXT UK, which I think is absolutely great.
I think it's way better than just having some random UK show that we had no idea what they were going to do with. Yep. They gave it time. All Triple H said before was that there would be a UK-based show. It didn't have to be, big guy, small guy. NXT UK, it's a subsidiary of a great brand they tour now. Like it's its own thing. It's great. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be nothing but great stuff for the guys in Progress and ICW, these UK-based promotions that have gotten a lot of exposure now due to the network and the UK tournaments that they've had in the Cruiserweight Classic. I think this is nothing but good for WWE going worldwide even more than they ever have. I think it's fantastic. Australia, UK, what's next?
Yep. On top of that, they announced that there will be a UK Women's Champion, a UK Tag Team Championship.
Well, they've already got the UK regular title, so...
Yep, they already got the UK Championship. So then all that's left, then they announced 8 future tapings that will take place throughout July, August, October, and November for the TV shows. So the next thing we need to look forward to is an announcement on when the TV show will debut, where it's going to debut. I've heard that they've talked to several actual traditional cable stations in the UK for carrying it, but I'm going to guess it'll probably end up on the network.
I think so too. And now, do you think because they have extra titles, they'll have their own titles? Do you think they'll have their own takeovers?
I would assume so. Yeah.
Okay. I would love to see just a pure UK only NXT takeover.
Absolutely.
Instead of throwing maybe just a UK title match. Now, granted, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate had one of the best matches you ever see at a takeover in Chicago last year, I believe.
In a rematch too, yeah.
Yeah, a rematch from their UK tournament final, which was also great, and they just finished filming that up, the second one. But I think having a whole show and takeover dedicated to those guys, that puts everybody in that show on the map and gives all this exposure. Again, it's only going to help all these smaller companies in WWE in the long run. So great on them again.
Yeah, I look forward to it. I hope that they're going to allow the U.S. to see these shows that they're going to produce, because I think that
I don't see why not.
Yeah, I don't see why not either, but you just never know. So I'm hoping that it's available to everybody, because I think that'll be fun, and it'll give you a good look into a little bit different style of wrestling that they have over there that I think people would be interested in here. So
I think a lot of people would be very interested in that. I mean, one of the top guys in the UK in a long time is your NXT champion right now. So, Aleister Black, one of those guys, he performed when he was back as Tommy End, one of his final matches as that character in the UK tournament, I believe.
Yep,
so
he did.
It's just everything's going forward with all these brands and all these new guys in the UK system now. Great stuff. It's a great time to be a wrestling fan, honestly.
I agree.
It's just the network came in a couple years ago, and all of a sudden, it's just blown up to these new heights.
I like it, and that's a good way to end the show this week. We had a lot to talk about. If you haven't seen it, go out of your way to watch the NXT TakeOver Chicago from this past week. The Gargano and Ciampa match is absolutely off the charts. The Velveteen Dream Ricochet match, again, off the charts. Well worth your time. Otherwise, also check out Money in the Bank if you didn't. If you thought it was going to be crappy and skipped it, go back and watch, because it is well worth it. So, hey, that'll do it for us this week. We'll be back in next week. Who knows what's going to happen in the next 7 days? Hopefully not as much, or maybe hopefully as much as that. But if you want to, you can follow us on Twitter. I am at Brian Thomas 878, and he is at Juicy Steen. You hit us up. Questions, comments, topic suggestions, we'll take them all. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you guys next week.
It is exhausting being so talented.
I'm not finished with you!
You
my time.